everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We like to get down and dirty with all sorts of fascinating topics, and today is no exception. We're diving headfirst into the 2025 ETS Human Progress Report.
Yeah, this report's pretty amazing. It's a global study. They got insights from something like 18,000 people.
18,000 people across 18 countries.
Yeah, worldwide scope.
Really gives you a sense of where the world's at when it comes to work, learning the whole shebang.
I think a lot of people listening are probably thinking about, what's next? What skills do I need? Where it's headed?
And this report's like a crystal ball in a way. It's not just about trends, it's about understanding what those trends mean for your career.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest takeaways for me is this idea of a skills-first economy.
Ooh, skills-first economy. That has a nice ring to it. What exactly does that mean, though?
Basically, it's all about what you can actually do, not just what your resume says. You need evidential currency.
Evidential currency. So it's not enough to just say, I'm good at this. You got to prove it.
You got to think about, in the past, a college degree might have been your golden ticket. But by 2035, that's not going to cut it. You need tangible proof of your skills certifications, real-world experience.
So it's almost like we're moving towards a portfolio-based system.
Exactly. A highlight reel of your abilities, show don't tell.
Makes sense. And does the report say anything about how people feel about this shift?
Yeah, they found that a whopping 86% of people believe that certifying their skills will help them land a better job.
86%. That's huge. So what are the skills worth certifying?
Well, it's not basket weaving, unless you're going for a very specific niche.
Aha, fair enough.
The report really emphasizes what they call durable skills, things like communication, problem-solving, critical thinking, creativity.
Ah, the human touch, the things robots can't do.
Exactly. Those skills are going to be in high demand as AI and automation take over more routine tasks.
So while robots are busy crunching numbers, we humans can focus on the things that require, that human spark.
Right. And that leads to another fascinating finding from the report, FOBO.
FOGO? Is that like a new dance move?
Aha. No, it stands for fear of being obsolete.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see why people will be feeling that, especially with all this talk about AI taking over jobs.
It's a real concern, and it's not just limited to one generation. 65% of Gen Z workers report feeling anxious about becoming obsolete.
65% of Gen Z. Wow. So almost 2 out of 3 Gen Zers?
But it's not just them, it's 60% overall, so it's a pretty widespread anxiety.
Yeah, I can see why people are feeling the pressure to stay relevant, keep learning new things just to keep up.
And that brings us to the double-edged sword of AI.
How so?
AI is disrupting the job market, no doubt, but it's also creating new opportunities. The key is to understand how AI is impacting your specific field and develop the skills you need to stay ahead of the curve.
So it's not about outrunning the robots. It's about learning to work alongside them, figuring out how to leverage their strengths while playing to our own.
Precisely. And that's where things get really interesting. The report found that employers often overestimate their employees' understanding of AI.
Oh, that's not good. So there's a gap between what employers think their employees know about AI and what they actually know.
Exactly. There's a real need for more AI literacy, but it's not enough on its own. You also need those durable skills we were talking about earlier.
So it's like you need to be bilingual fluent in both tech and human interaction.
I like that analogy. And that's where another big takeaway from the report comes in, the rise of real-world assessments and skills portfolios.
Wait, so are resumes going the way of the dodo?
They're definitely evolving. Employers want to see what you can do, not just what you say you can do.
So it's like, show me the receipts.
Exactly. Think digital badges, micro-credentials, online portfolios. And get this, 78% of employees are interested in a digital skills credentials wallet.
A wallet for your skills? That's pretty cool. What is that exactly?
Basically, it's a digital platform where you can store and manage all your certifications, badges, assessments, kind of like a LinkedIn profile, but specifically for your skills.
Okay, so that seems like a pretty clear call to action. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, you need to start building your skills portfolio now. But before we go any further, let's take a closer look at this evidential currency you mentioned earlier. It seems like a key concept that underpins a lot of what we've been talking about.
Absolutely. And the report goes into some really interesting detail about how this is playing out in the real world.
Well, let's dive in then. What exactly do they mean by evidential currency, and what does it mean for someone like me trying to navigate this crazy job market?
So think about evidential currency as like the new language of success in the job market. It's about moving beyond just saying, hey, I can do this, and actually proving it.
So less talk, more action.
Exactly. Like, you know how they say the proof is in the pudding? Well, in the skills-first economy, the proof is in your portfolio, your certifications, your real-world achievements.
Okay, I'm getting the picture, but what does that look like in real life? Can you give me some examples?
Let's say you're a graphic designer. In the past, you might have just relied on your resume and a portfolio to showcase your work, but now you can amp it up. You could earn industry-recognized certification in different design software, participate in design competitions. even contribute to open-source design projects. All tangible ways to demonstrate your skills and build that evidential currency.
So instead of just saying, I'm a pro at Photoshop, you're showing them, look, I've got the Adobe certification to back it up.
Exactly. And the cool thing is this applies to pretty much any field: software developer, nurse, teacher, chef. There are always ways to demonstrate your skills and build your evidential currency.
This is making me think I need to revamp my whole approach to professional development. I've always focused on gaining experience and building my resume, but maybe I need to be thinking more strategically about how I can showcase those skills, get that concrete proof.
You're on the right track. The report highlights that this shift is happening everywhere. Across industries and job levels, employers are realizing that the old ways of hiring don't always cut it. They need a more accurate, a more holistic picture of what candidates can actually do.
Makes total sense. A resume can only tell you much, but seeing someone's actual work, their certification, or their contributions to real-world projects, that paints a much clearer picture.
Right. And it levels the playing field for people who might not have had access to the traditional paths to success, whether it's a 4-year college degree or connections in a certain industry. If you can demonstrate your skills, you can open doors that might have been closed before.
That's what I love about this whole idea of a skills-first economy. It's about democratizing opportunity. But are there any potential downsides? Could a purely skills-based system create new forms of bias or inequality?
That's a really important question, and the report acknowledges that it's a valid concern. We need to be very careful and make sure that the tools we're using to assess skills are truly fair and unbiased.
So it's not enough to just shift to a skills-based system. It's about making sure that system is designed and implemented ethically.
Precisely. It requires careful consideration, ongoing evaluation. Are these assessments truly measuring the skills they're intended to measure? Are they accessible to everyone? Are they being used in a way that promotes fairness and equity?
Those are some heavy questions, but I think it's crucial to have these conversations. We don't want to create a system that unintentionally disadvantages certain groups of people.
Exactly. We need to be mindful and proactive in addressing those potential pitfalls.
Okay, all of this is incredibly insightful, but I have to admit I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. It's like the rules of the game are changing right before our eyes.
I understand that feeling. It's a lot to process. But remember, with every challenge comes an opportunity. And in this case, the opportunity is to take control of your own career destiny.
That's a great point. So how can I do that? What are some practical steps I can take to start taking control?
First things first, start thinking about your skills in a more deliberate way. What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? And what skills are in high demand in your field?
Okay, so it's about taking inventory of my current skill set and then figuring out where I want to go from there.
Exactly. And then start brainstorming ways to build those skills and get that evidential currency. Maybe it's taking an online course, earning a certification, volunteering for a project, even starting a side hustle. There are tons of ways to gain experience and demonstrate your abilities.
It's like we need to become our own PR agents, promoting our skills and building our personal brands.
Love that analogy. And this is where those digital credentials wallets can really come in handy. They provide a centralized platform to showcase your skills and achievements to potential employers.
So it's like building a digital portfolio, a highlight reel of all the amazing things you can do.
You got it. And remember, this isn't just about checking boxes or collecting badges. It's about investing in your own development, becoming a more well-rounded and adaptable individual, and ultimately finding work that's both fulfilling and financially rewarding.
This is all making so much sense, but I have to ask about this whole AI thing. I keep hearing that it's going to replace millions of jobs. Should I be worried?
Worried, no prepared. Absolutely. Remember, AI is a double-edged sword. It's disrupting the job market, but it's also creating new opportunities. The key is to understand how AI is impacting your field and develop the skills you need to stay ahead of the curve.
So it's not about trying to outrun the robots. It's about learning to work alongside them.
Exactly. AI can automate a lot of tasks, but it can't replicate human creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. Those are the skills that will set you apart in the future of work.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. But it brings up another question. What about those AI coaches we talked about earlier? Are those actually a thing now?
Oh yeah, they're definitely becoming more and more sophisticated. AI coaches can help you identify your strengths and weaknesses, recommend personalized learning paths, even connect you with job opportunities that match your skills.
Wow, so it's like having a personal career advisor, but powered by AI.
You got it. And what's interesting is that the report found that blue-collar workers are among the most enthusiastic about AI coaching.
Really? I would have thought it would be more of a white-collar thing. Why do you think that is?
Well, blue-collar jobs are often the ones that are most vulnerable to automation. So it makes sense that these workers would be eager to embrace tools that can help them adapt and stay relevant.
That's a great point. It's like they're seeing AI coaching as a way to future-proof their careers.
Exactly. And it speaks to the broader theme of democratizing access to opportunity. AI coaching has the potential to provide everyone, regardless of their background or industry, with the tools and guidance they need to thrive.
I love that. But would you trust an AI coach? I mean, it seems like a big leap of faith to let an algorithm guide your career path.
That's a fair question, and it's one that the report encourages us to think critically about. It's not about blindly trusting AI. It's about understanding its capabilities and its limitations, and then deciding how to best leverage it for our own benefit.
So it's about using AI as a tool, not a replacement for human judgment and decision making.
Precisely. And remember, AI is still in its early stages. As AI technology evolves, we need to have ongoing conversations about its ethical implications and make sure it's being used in a way that benefits all of humanity. But let's shift gears for a second and talk about how this whole skills-first movement is impacting the way companies are hiring.
Yes, let's talk about that because honestly, the traditional resume and job application process can feel so outdated.
It's definitely undergoing a major transformation. The report points to a growing shift away from resumes and towards skills portfolios, micro-credentials, and real-world assessments.
So are resumes going extinct?
They might not disappear entirely, but they're definitely becoming less central to the hiring process. Employers are realizing that a resume can only tell you so much.
Right, it's like trying to squeeze the entire life story into a 2-page document. It just doesn't do you justice.
Exactly, and it doesn't necessarily reflect what you can actually do. That's why we're seeing a rise in the use of skills portfolios, essentially online collections of your work projects, certifications, and other evidence of your skills.
So it's like a digital showcase of your abilities.
Exactly, and micro-credentials are also becoming increasingly popular.
What are those again?
They're like bite-sized chunks of learning that verify you have a specific skill. They're often offered by online platforms, universities, or even professional organizations.
So instead of spending years getting a degree, you can focus on developing specific skills that are in demand right now?
Exactly, and because micro-credentials are often more affordable and accessible than traditional degrees, they can be a great option for people who might not have had access to higher education.
Love that. And what about those real-world assessments? How do those work?
Those are a way for employers to test your skills in a practical setting. This could involve coding challenges, design projects, or even simulations that mimic real-world work scenarios.
So it's like, okay, you say you're a coding with, prove it.
Exactly. It's about putting your skills to the test and showing that you can deliver results.
This whole shift towards skills-based hiring sounds really promising. But is it actually leading to a more equitable job market? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, and it's something the report dives into. The encouraging thing is that a huge majority of people believe that skills-based assessments can lead to a fairer system.
Really? That's awesome. What's the logic behind that?
It comes down to the idea that your qualifications are being judged based on objective evidence, not on subjective factors like where you went to school or who.
So it's about taking the bias out of the equation and focusing on what you can actually do.
Precisely, and that has the potential to create a much more level playing field.
It's like we're moving from a system based on pedigree to a system based on merit. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. While skills-based hiring has huge potential, it's not a magic solution.
Right. We still need to be very mindful of the potential for bias and make sure that these new systems are designed and implemented in a way that promotes fairness and equity.
So it's not just about shifting to a skills-based system. It's about doing it right, making sure we're not inadvertently creating new forms of inequality.
Exactly. It requires constant vigilance and a commitment to evaluating and improving these systems as they evolve. We need to be aware of things like algorithmic bias and make sure these tools are being used in a way that benefits everyone, not just a select few.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation, but I gotta be honest, I'm still grappling with the sheer scale of these changes. It feels like we're in the middle of a massive paradigm shift in how we think about work education, even success itself.
You're absolutely right. It's not just a technological revolution, it's a cultural one. And as with any major cultural shift, it's going to take time, effort, and an open mind to navigate it successfully.
So what does this mean for someone like me? How can I prepare for the future of work and thrive in this skills-first economy?
That's the big question. And the good news is the report has some really practical advice.
Lay on me. I'm ready.
Well, the report really hammers home this idea that lifelong learning, it's not just a nice to have anymore, it's essential. You got to be adaptable, curious, always ready to learn something new. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, experiment with new technologies. It's all about investing in yourself.
So ditch that set it and forget it mentality when it comes to my skills. No more resting on my laurels.
Exactly. The future belongs to those who are constantly evolving. And it's not just about the tech skills either. Remember those durable skills we talked about?
Yeah, the critical thinking, communication, problem solving, the human stuff.
That's right. Those are going to be more valuable than ever. As AI takes over more routine tasks, those uniquely human abilities will be even more important in the workplace.
So it's not about competing with AI, it's about finding ways to work with it, use it to our advantage.
Exactly. Don't think of AI as the enemy. Think of it as a powerful tool that can help you do your job better, free up time for more creative work. It might even open up career paths you hadn't even considered.
I like that. More possibilities, not fewer. But how do I even know what skills I should be developing or what those new paths might be?
Network, talk to people in your field, go to industry events, find mentors who can give you some guidance. You'd be surprised how much you can learn just by talking to people who are already doing what you want to do.
Tapping into the collective wisdom. Love it. What about online resources? Any recommendations there?
Oh, tons. Online communities, professional groups. There's a wealth of information and support out there.
Perfect. So we've talked about what individuals can do, but what about the bigger picture? What role do companies and policymakers need to play in all of this?
Well, employers have a huge responsibility to foster a culture of continuous learning. Invest in their employees, offer opportunities for upskilling and reskilling, create a workplace where people feel supported and encouraged to grow.
So it's not just about hiring for skills, it's about creating an environment where those skills can thrive.
Exactly. And policymakers, they need to be thinking about how to create a system that supports skills-based hiring, develop clear standards for those skills credentials, and invest in AI-powered tools that can help match people with jobs based on their skills.
Sounds like a team effort for sure. But if we can pull it off, it has the potential to create a much more equitable and rewarding future of work for everyone.
Absolutely. It's a challenge, but it's also an incredible opportunity. And if we approach it with a spirit of collaboration and a commitment to lifelong learning, I think we can make it happen.
That's a great message of hope. This has been an amazing conversation, so much to think about. But before we wrap up, there's one question that's been bugging me.
Okay, shoot.
In a world where AI can potentially do almost anything, what are those uniquely human skills that will be most valuable in the future? What sets us apart?
Ooh, that's a great question. It really gets to the heart of what it means to be human in this age of AI. I think the skills that will be most valuable are the ones that AI can't replicate. Empathy, compassion, creativity, critical thinking. The ability to connect with others on a deep, meaningful level.
The things that make us human. The things that make life worth living.
Exactly. So as you navigate the future of work, remember to nurture those skills. They're your superpowers, your competitive advantage.
Love that. Thank you so much for this incredible deep dive. So much food for thought. And to all our listeners out there, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.
You got it. See you next time.